naming issue on Facebook and YouTube is properly finalized. But yeah, so we're talking Texas Chainsaw 3D. So Graham, take it away.
Okay, well, what did you say, Mick? You said what year was it done?
Yeah, I was wondering.
It was shot in 2011 and it was released in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that you have to ask about any 3D film.
Yeah.
Was it any good at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or was it?
Although, no, I heard a lot of people complain about it. It might have just been the way the projector was set up, but the one I saw, it was immersive as hell. It wasn't really a movie where stuff came out of the screen at you. It was just immersive, right. And for that point, it was great.
Right. So it wasn't this kind of 3D, right?
Well, I can't see it, so I don't know what you're doing.
Well, yeah.
But I guess you're doing that.
Okay. Wait a minute.
No, it was not utilized like that. It was more utilized like Leatherface throws a chainsaw, and the chainsaw comes flying at the fucking screen whenever it cuts to the point of view. Yes, it's done the proper way.
That's kind of like one of the Bilbos, one of the Hobbits was 3D, and oh my god, I went to see it in 3D, and they did every freaking gimmick you could imagine, with the horse jumping, the horse galloping towards you and then jumping over you and all the rest of that. After a while, it just got tiring.
Well, it takes a while to get used to it as well. I remember when I went to see the Avengers years ago, the first one, and about 45 minutes, an hour in, I actually got my eyes acclimatized to the 3D and I could enjoy the movie. When it's too much, you can't watch it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But there is also a big difference in 3D because in how the rendering is, as opposed to like when you go into effects in 3D, the rendering of effects in 3D and of computer effects is a vastly complicated thing because there's so many things that are moving. The inexpensive way to do it is to set yourself a bunch of planes. You know what I'm saying? Like this plane is 5 feet out, that plane's 10 feet out, that plane's 15 and so forth. And just move them as opposed to doing it like you would a vector graphic.
Yes.
And the problem with that is the vector graphic style uses an enormous amount of hard disk space, but it looks amazing. The other way to do it, well, I do, but the other way to do it looks kind of cheesy, and they did that a lot. They did a lot with the Bilbos, with the Bagginses. Sorry, I got off. Boy, did I get off.
Here's a better question. What is everyone's favorite 3D movie? And saying the last 8 minutes of Freddy's Dead does not count.
Really?
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely. Spider-Man, the animated Spider-Man in 3D was fucking amazing. Just absolutely, hands down, my favorite.
From my 3D experiences and what limited they are, I did watch the last Underworld movie in 3D, and it was so good that it gave me a headache and I vomited.
When I go to a really good moment, I guess I didn't enjoy Jojo Rabbit as much as I thought I did because I don't remember vomiting once.
That's because Taika Waititi's performance was so on point. That's why.
Well, yeah, that's right. Nailed it.
How do you play Hitler? I don't know. Just act like a douchebag. Okay, I could do that.
I love, by the way, what he said about being the director and being dressed like Hitler with the mustache and everything. And he says, and he'd stand up there and he'd go, okay, we need to do this and this and this. And then he'd look around and everybody'd be looking at him like, and he'd go, please? Please?
Did no one see Piranha 3D at the cinema? That was a good 3D movie.
I seen Piranha 3 Double D with Hasselhoff. Glorious film.
I did.
Who's the girl in 3D? I forgot. There's like a very sort of raunchy underwater 3D nude scene.
Ooh.
That's worth it if you got it in 3D to watch that.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I'd say old 3D would be pretty useless to you, but I'd say new 3D might actually be worth your while.
You know what? I really do need to see your browser history.
Yeah. I've got the Blu-ray. I don't need that.
3D, you say?
They do so. Have you seen any 3D porn? I mean, it's out there. I've never seen that. That's got to be good, right? I mean,
listen, you know what? I swear to God, when I hear 6 inches or 12 inches, I just take their word for it.
Let's not talk about the last time you questioned someone.
You asked. Yeah. You asked.
So, Graham,
what's
the last movie you watched?
Creep Show earlier today. After Leprechaun 2.
Are you binging the Leprechaun movies, or are you like me, just randomly select one out of the bunch and go, "Ooh, this seems good right now"?
No, but my kids wanted to watch it because they thought the first one was hilarious, so we watched the second one. It's really good. Mm-hmm. I've not seen it for years, but it's good. It's got who's the guy from Seinfeld in it? He's like one of the guys who lives with Seinfeld's dad. He's like, take the pen. That guy, the guy, the old guy who's Jerry takes his pen. There's a big thing about it. You remember the episode of Seinfeld? No.
Seinfeld's not my favorite.
He's really good. That guy. I don't know the actor's name. He's really good at it.
Okay. I'll take your word for it, Seinfeld.
I'll take your.
What was the last film you guys watched?
Arizona, featuring Danny McBride. Which one? Luke Wilson. Who else is in it? It's like a black comedy about the fall of the housing market in 2006 and the families that are now stuck living in the shitty homes that are not worth anything now. And one of the dudes snaps and accidentally kills his realtor. And the other realtor girl watches it happen. So now he has to cover it up. And it's Danny McBride pretty much snapping and still doing Danny McBride stuff.
This is a comedy,
time.
Right?
Yeah, it's a black comedy.
I swear to God, you know what? I've heard this description before from him, and it doesn't sound any better.
It's just weird because he will kill somebody and then act Danny McBride. He'll just act like Danny McBride, and you're just like, whoa, this is so weird. And I watched till the end, and it was just like, I want to laugh, but you just killed somebody. There's a scene where he killed. What was that?
Did you watch Manhunter? You got the Blu-ray, didn't you?
I did. I haven't watched it yet.
That's good.
I've not.
God, it's been a long time since I've seen Manhunter. You know what I watched? Hey, come on, TJ. What film did I watch last?
Oh, shit.
Come on, Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yesterday he did a watch-along.
This is my watch-along. And then Robert came. And then at the very end of it, I saw Robert and Nancy. And Robert was
dressed for the occasion.
Yeah, he was. He was all this above and all party below.
It was a really nice wide shot of Robert Englund.
It was great.
In his office.
I like the fact that he was standing there like Captain Morgan in his skivvies.
Yeah.
I swear to God, he was kind of had this Captain Morgan thing going, and these checkered underwear. It was great. It was the best.
It was classy. Literally. We expect nothing else.
Right. Yeah. Boxers or briefs. Fucking boxers, god damn it. Fucking
So,
boxers. And you know what? Boxer briefs don't count at all.
Let's talk about something that we're all three working on, and I hope to bring Graham in on. Something that's going to happen in about 3 weeks. Something that we might as well start talking about, and then that can segue into a personal appearance that Mick and I will be making later on. So let's talk about a watch-along. Speaking of watch-alongs, actually, of Texas Chainsaw 3, which is the whole purpose of today's show, to announce a watch-along in 3 weeks featuring myself, hosted by myself, and of course, the artiste, Mick Strawn, the production designer that doesn't do it better than it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to come on. We've got Jeff Burr interested. We've got David Chow interested.
I believe Graham might make an appearance to lay down some history on y'all.
I don't know why he wouldn't. Look at that. You know what?
We have contacts.
Thank you for that snappy catching up. He's just standing there going.
You got who else? You got Billy Butler.
Yes.
I sort of got. What did I tell you? I was going to just get Billy on. Yeah.
Yes. Billy Butler. And then we have contacts for old R.A., Banco, and hopefully Forey. Stay tuned for announcements with that and a graphic coming soon designed by Corey Kaufman. We'll be promoting the hell out of that over the next 3 weeks. And we will be live with that probably on a Friday. Do we have an exact date on that?
I'm setting up for 3 weeks from.
Is that the 21st or the 28th?
I think the 28th would be perfect.
Okay, that will be the 28th, and we're going to try to make it a little more so afternoon, so the folks across the pond can watch at a reasonable time. That is important to us. And yes, I'm talking about Graham, Neve Painter, and Brody Kane, because both you guys bitch and complain that the watch-alongs happen when you're sleeping. I totally get it.
I'm usually in my pajamas now.
Yeah, well, what does day or night mean anymore, right? Yeah.
Right?
Oh, exactly. It's there's bats flying past my windows right now.
And
I raised my own.
We will be Mick and I will be making an appearance at Scarefest. Mick, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we're going to be at Scarefest is supposed to be opening up in October, late October, and we've just decided. I mean, I was invited, and I invited TJ. So screw it. So suck on that.
Yes, so I will be following Mick along, probably be the guy with the microphone in hand with a bunch of equipment on his back, look like a Ghostbuster. But come meet us, talk the shit, and we'll tell you what we think of cinematographers and British people. And yeah, but also at that show will be our friend Tony Todd, Clive Barker, Nicholas Vince,
that's right.
Barbie Wild, Heather Donahue, Joshua Leonard.
You know who else is going to be there?
Who else?
Rob Mello.
Rob Mello, our friend from Happy Death Day 1 and 2.
That's right.
Yeah,
he's my bud. And
also,
unfortunately, I made a bet.
Another one of our friends will be there. Well, Michael Berryman will be there, and hopefully we can snap his version of the gas station story, as you can see behind us in the back.
That's right. Unfortunately, I've been making bets with with Rob Mello, and I won 2 bets, and then it looks like they're actually going to open the show, which means that I've lost this bet, and I have to buy him dinner and drinks. And evidently, that's not a wise thing to bet with Rob Mello around.
No. That is a negative, Mick.
So I'm gonna be driving there and walking back. That's the way it looks like it's gonna go.
Who else do we have? Oh, Jenna Jameson, yeah, Amelia Kincaid, Linnea Quigley, and any other friends here? R.A. Miloff. Oh, Kane Hodder's gonna be there.
Kane Hodder's gonna be there. Yeah.
Yep.
And I know Kane, so That
Excellent.
should be. And you know when is the last time I saw Kane? 2 years ago, at the same show.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
The last time I saw Kane was in Pittsburgh, and I was wearing my Never Hike Alone parody shirt, my Never Wipe Alone shirt. And me and my buddy were wearing them and matching shirts, and we're standing there. We have all of our shit in our hands. They're a bunch of Jason Goes to Hell props. And he walks up and he stops dead in his tracks and he looks us up and down and he goes, never wipe alone. And then sits down and goes, okay, what do you got for me? And then we lay out this big ass Jason Goes to Hell 2-for-1 burger sale banner. He's like, where the hell did you get that? And he's like, oh, we made that. And he's like, how do I sign this? And he's like, get one of these big Sharpies. And he takes this big ass Sharpie and just signs his name big. Adam Marcus is in possession of that banner right now. It's sitting in his office. Yes. Yes, we're having the cast sign that.
Where is Adam out of? He's out of California, isn't he?
Yes, sir. Steve says he has yet to meet Kane. Kane is an awesome fellow and can get a joke. Actually, during a Q&A once, he made my lovely husband, not actually my husband, but my best friend, everyone thinks we're married, Corey, stand up in a Q&A and ask everyone if he looks like Tom Tolles. If you don't know who Tom Tolles is, it's the guy from see, he gets it. From House of a Thousand Corpses? Or yeah. Or is he from the Devil's Rejects? No, he's in the Devil. He's in both, right?
He's in both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Can I ask a question, Graham?
That guy.
Yeah.
That guy. Right. First of all, you've done the history of Goonies.
Yeah.
Ghoulies, right? Ghoulies. All right.
Knock off Gremlin.
I have never seen a Ghoulies film.
Yeah.
Oh! I have never seen why should I watch a Ghoulies film?
Because they're charming as hell, man. If you like 80s movies, you cannot dislike a Ghoulies movie.
I don't know if I like 80s movies as much as I just built half of them.
You can't see right now, Graham, but I'm holding up the out of print Scream Factory, Ghoulies 1 and 2. Yes.
Fetching up to $25 at the moment.
Oh. So
big money.
So who weren't these Full Moon?
No, Empire.
Oh, they're Empire. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Empire. And the third one was Vestron.
So how many were there?
4, and I think the fourth was Columbia Trice. I don't know whoever did that one.
Right.
Fourth go to college?
No, that's 3. Watch the first 3, avoid the fourth one. But they've all got merit, you know. The fourth one's not exactly what I call. It's not a fantastic Ghoulies movie, but it's a really entertaining movie.
So it's like the Crow movies, minus the Edward Furlong. It's so true. Mick.
Yeah.
How have you never watched Ghoulies?
Well, you see, now this is an interesting thing.
This question. Okay.
Now you've asked me this before because you're saying, look, you got to remember that it wasn't until like 2 years ago that I saw Predator. Right?
Yes. And this year.
When I explained this to you. And why is that, TJ?
That is because he was too busy making them to watch them. Very fair answer. It explains it all. Go back,
that lays it all out. That is the beginning and end of the discussion.
Yes. He very, very busy man. As soon as the 80s hit.
Yeah, that's right. 80s and the 90s were a blur.
Yeah. Pink. No, what was it? A BMW. You got your BMW.
Yeah.
What else did you have? Your green toe.
Oh.
No, you still have your green toe.
I still have my green toe. But
I love Graham's face when we talk about the green toe.
The green toe. Oh my God. Yeah. You know, it's a glitter green toe is fucking important.
It is.
I have to tell you, I had to have my green toe redone in New Jersey because I got got off the plane, and I looked down and I thought, I'm showing too much of the back of the toe. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so there was this woman whose job was to drive me around while I was in New Jersey, and I said, "Oh, you got to find me a place to get my toe done, right?" And
one toe,
just one toe. Well, I had to get everything done, but then only the toe gets greened out, right? And so she takes me to a nail salon that was in the worst part of town, right? Literally. And boy, if you're in Atlantic City has some really worst part of towns, right? It really does. And so
shit gets sketchy.
It did get sketchy quick, right? And I have my sandals on it. I walk in and I get my toes done. And I get my one green glitter green toe, and so that I wouldn't get my Levi's, it wouldn't destroy the wet toe. I rolled them all the way up so that they're up around my knees, right? I pay, and I'm walking out with this woman, and this woman is not happy about this at all. She didn't want to walk outside with me because it was a sketchy part of town. But not only was it sketchy, there was a construction crew rebuilding the sidewalk. So I had to go out and go past this construction crew, right? And and one of the guys says, "Oh, look at that toe. I don't know I don't know if I should hit him or throw up." And I said, "You know what? I think you better throw up." He just backed up a little bit because he was pretty small. And I was like, and this woman, and I turn around and she's gone. It took me a block and a half to catch up with her. And I was like, "Hey, where'd you go?" And she goes, "I'm not hanging with you. The car's over here."
Hey, would this woman be a current employee of the Project Louder network?
No.
Oh, okay.
I, however, told her the story.
Okay, because that's what I heard.
She cracked up.
Okay.
I thought she was gonna die when I told her about that, because I was in her room that night. We were having an interview, and we literally talked for 20 minutes straight about my toe.
It was great.
Is your toe, the whole toe painted green, or is it just the nail?
It's just the nail.
Just the nail. He gets his toes done. He gets his toes done because he is, in fact, a very classy gentleman, but he gets the one toe green as a deterrent and as a distraction or a conversation starter, perhaps.
That's you know what? You don't know. I don't really know either. But I've had it that way for, I can't even remember how long.
Wow.
Why does this confuse you?
Well, one green toenail, I wouldn't have thought it was that obvious when you walk by to get some constructor's work.
You can look at it this way. Some people in America carry guns to feel safe. Mick paints his toe green.
That's right.
Different strokes for different folks, Graham.
It's a deterrent, because what you do is when people come in, you go, "What toe?"
Why the fuck you looking at my feet, bro?
Yeah, really. What's up with you?
You got a foot
fetish? It's a deterrent because people think, "What's wrong with your toe?"
Yeah, well, or you say, "Look, I can drop my pants and you can see where the rest of the, well, you can see everything else that's green."
Oh, I'm dead. This episode has been so sexual and arguably
my
sexual.
God.
And it's labeled Sawyer brand chili, and that is
that's not bad for that's hung like a hamster, huh? Hey, very talented hamster. Don't get me wrong.
When's the animated series coming out? What's going
Oh,
on with
Well,
speaking of that, we're wrapping
Yeah.
up the pilot episode here over the next couple of months, and you guys will see some of that leaking on the internet, followed up by a Kickstarter campaign. So,
Yeah, exactly. That's we've got
Sorry,
we got
I just like the leaking on the internet. Sounds like
yes.
mixed toe
Oh
again.
well,
if you're expecting an official release anytime soon, you, sir, are on drugs.
yeah. That's you know what? These days, that's the only way anything gets onto the internet. It's just leaked.
There will be no finished state in which it's
No.
presented.
No.
Broken bits.
Yeah, broken bits. Yes, because we want it to look like everything else out there.
Yes. Mick has this awesome new advertising style called Flood the Internet. And we'll be utilizing it through.
Listen, people that have argued about me about this wound up with 18 people at their event.
Exactly.
So I have to say this. I have to say you can't win an argument with 18 people against 100 plus. So
very, very fair. And we'll see how we fare in 3 weeks with our own little shindig. But with the reach of Project Louder, we'll get firmly placed in the anus of all fans, and they will watch us. They will watch and bask in the glory of the cast and crew of Texas Chainsaw 3. Follow Project Louder and projectlouder.net for more information on the event.
Don't you have to wear gloves and a mask to say things like that?
If properly lubed, I think you're okay.
It's a combination of hand lube and hand sanitizer.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Graham. You know what? We actually did bring you on to.
I'm just enjoying listening to you tonight. It's fine.
That's the important thing, you know, is that
so
everybody enjoys
earlier
themselves.
We had a brief discussion on the internet, Graham, about VHS releases and New Line Cinema and how they were kind of like, how did you put them? We'll let you talk about New Line Cinema.
Oh, do you mean what? Like my post saying that they were kind of like they were the foremost house of horror, really, to a certain degree. Yeah, I mean, had it not been for the fact that they sort of went to like Austin Powers and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, they would have been probably known more for the horror than anything else, but they kind of ruined it.
And the picture we're referring to is, see if I can actually find it while we're discussing it, is a 1996 promotional photo that features a variety of a VHS tapes for sale and just the pure. Oh, I can actually probably show it. Yep, I'm going to show it up on screen here for all you. Where is it? Upload media.
All you that have the camera working on your phone, because I can't see anything.
Yeah, so this is the photo that we saw earlier. I'll pop that up solo on screen. Make a killing with our Halloween horror hits, and it's Texas Chainsaw 3, a film that Mick and I do not like. Jason Goes to Hell.
Hey!
The Mangler, Freddy's Dead, and The Howling. What is that? New Blood Rising?
Yeah, right.
So that's just crazy. And in a world where companies really don't push releases, especially after initial release, 3 years into like a.
But wait a minute. You have to understand this is a lot of this stuff was released before
VHS was widely available.
Right. Exactly. You see, VHS. I remember going up to a VHS store next to where I lived, and when I was working on New Line films, and I think that it was maybe 89, and it was their selection was maybe 100, 150 films.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So what time would you start to see VHS stores pretty regularly?
Well, here's the thing is at that point, and it would have been, 89, 90, like I said, at that point, they actually had the recorders or the players there, and they would rent those for $5 a week. So
Okay.
you almost virtually had to get the player, with the VHS to try it out.
Yeah.
Before that,
Okay,
it just before that, just it just wasn't.
Here's a little bit of trivia. Since Mick, you are a former New Line employee, and Graham, you're the master of all knowledge on things. Of the list of films there, what was the highest selling VHS release of them?
Oh, I can't see it, but what was
The
it?
films were Texas Chainsaw 3, New Nightmare, Jason Goes to Hell, The Mangler, Freddy's Dead, or what is that? The last entry in the Howling franchise?
The New Nightmare.
Do you know the VHS?
I know
sales?
the answer. I know the answer.
Do you?
Yes.
I'm going to say New Nightmare.
Okay. Graham, what's your guess?
I'd go for Freddy's Dead.
Jason Goes to Hell is the highest VHS. And I'll tell you why. Because every video store was forced to buy two versions of the film due to the rated and unrated copies being available at release.
That's right.
It is the highest selling New Line release to date.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wait a minute. Nightmare 5 was released in unrated and R-rated, but were they not forced to buy two versions?
From day one?
I don't know. I'm not
that's
American.
See? Yeah. That's so hard.
See, but all at that time, that it was just hard. I mean, when we did Nightmare on Elm Street 4, it was just hard. No, it was meant to be in theaters. Hard, it wasn't known what the nature of the market was going to be, because that we were still in the middle of the beta versus VHS. When you went there was always a bunch of betas and a bunch of VHS, and it wasn't.
And you know what's kind of funny?
There were 3 or 4 years before that all worked out.
The old notion that history repeats.
Sorry, TJ. When did prices come down? Because VHS tapes used to be like $80-$90, and obviously when the 90s hit, they were actually affordable. So what was the difference between those times? When did they start?
Whenever they beat Betamax, is that when prices dropped? Is when they monopolized?
Right. Yeah. I think that they were still really high by the end of the 80s. It hadn't worked. It really hadn't worked itself out, because the thing is then almost immediately, once they did work it out, then the battle started to be between compact discs and full disc, right? That was the new quality, was the big disc, and it's just it's always a battle. It's always something. God damn it!
And like I said, the notion that history repeats itself. We saw a very similar battle again in the early 2000s with Blu-ray and HD DVD, kind of with that thing, similar to Betamax versus VHS. Two very similar formats with just a hair's difference, but it's all about pricing and timing.
It is, and it's also as soon as you say, well, this has got the better quality, that's the one that's going to die. That's the way it always is. Oh, beta is so much better. Oh, yeah, you mean it's going to die next week, right?
And I think that
oh no, Blu-ray is going to be around forever. Okay, so that's going to die too.
And I think the way that they've circumvented that, and in an effort to not have to create a entirely new format, is they kind of evolve things with Blu-ray. So now it's
into Netflix.
Netflix. I think that there always will be a need for physical media despite streaming and digital, only because there will always be people who are out there, they're willing to collect things or don't have access to the internet. Because I know it's hard to believe, but the more center America you get, the less and less people have internet.
Oh,
I mean, yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's a reason why boutique Blu-ray shops exist in 2020. You know what I mean? Why Ronin Flicks and Scream Factory have such a booming business, why we have sellouts and stuff like that. That just goes to show that physical media is not dead. But I don't think that we'll ever see a giant competition amongst different formats, because the demand for physical media is no longer that of what it was, let's say, 10 years ago.
But you have to think about it this way. It is now so much easier to get them physical It's interesting how the markets have just blown up and completely changed. For instance, the process of holding a hold of a DVD or a VHS before the internet came along, and you didn't know where to go to find shit. That was interesting. I mean, communication has changed completely, because just think of it.
And it's changed businesses as well, in the way that you think,
completely.
like the way you approach creating businesses, because in order to compete in today's market, you literally have to be a niche somewhere.
Right.
You have to capture like the oddest of the odd and focus only on that. If you want to.
But here's the thing: is you have this advantage. Your niche is worldwide. That isn't the way that it used to be. A niche used to be it used to be that whatever shop that was right next to the place that sold the sex toys. See, had to come all the way around.
Boom. Exactly.
Boom. Boom. You know what? That was boom.
I remember putting an ad in the paper to get hold of a copy of Motel Hell in like the late 80s, because it was so hard to come by.
Wow.
That's how you used to get stuff. Put an ad in paper, one ad, and say, "Have you got it?" And hopefully someone will call up. Yeah, I've got it.
That's awesome. Like that's dedication to your horror fandom, though.
You get. I suppose the closest thing we used to have over here with boot sales, but over there, I guess it would technically be a flea market. But I guess that's the kind of place you really have to prowl, or at least you used to back in the day, to get this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you one that I bet you never thought of. When we were production designing in the 70s and 80s, and all the way up from the 30s, research as a production designer or a costume designer or an art director was all done in basically one place. There was at the top of I can't think of the name of the studio, one of the big studios, off of Wilshire, like the MGM studio. Mm-hmm. On top of the biggest stage that they had was an enormous library, and it had a couple of old women that had been there. I think one of them still was wearing their original toga. Couple of old women in there that you would go in and say, "I need." Let's say that you were doing something from Siam at the time, right? Mm-hmm. You were doing The King and I. So you would go in, you would say, "Hey, I'm doing The King and I want to see pictures. I want to see everything that you've got on Siam and the temples and so forth, and I need you to give me the costumer for this and this and this period." And those two old women, there was these long tables, and they would come in and you would get one table and they would just start laying stuff out. And it was a combination. It would be these books. It would start as like a book, but each book inside of it had any clippings that they thought was relevant to it would be in that. So all these books were like, enormous, and you'd sit down there and you would get a sense for what you were looking at, and you could copy it, but nothing could leave the library. And that's, and the thing is that was an amazing resource, because it was a visual resource. That, it wasn't like a whole bunch of words. It was like a library was just barely relevant to what we were looking for, and yet we had to find that stuff fast. And so we would go in there, and it was an amazing. And now we have the internet, And and when you want a big woman, a big-titted woman with an areola about that big, you can do proper medical research on it, right, Graham?
Or just go through your history.
Or just go through your history.
Which now does not exist, which then segues
rats!
segues into the end of this episode. Thank you, Graham, for coming on.
Thanks, man. Thanks for letting us subject you to the horrors of Rabbit Hole.
Well, I'm assuming someone, couldn't make it.
Graham, plug the books.
Complete History of Ghoulies, October 14th. Get it at waterstones.com and it will be available in shops around the same time. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is not out yet. Okay. Should be December, but who knows with what's going on in the world.
That's a good one.
Looking forward to both releases, though.
See? Hey, wait, Graham, you got to admit, we're keeping you and your books up on the consciousness of society.
Yeah. Well, all right, I'll send you a copy.
Well,
I will buy a copy, and I want a very sexual inscription inside. Just a nice.
I'll draw a really big areola for you.
There we go. Restarts this. Well, thank you guys, and just a friendly reminder that this is now the Project Louder Network and the Do Back Network. As otherwise, the banner on the bottom says dobackdiscussion.net. If you type that in, it no longer will take you to dobackdiscussion.net. Rather, it will take you to projectlouder.net, which we are now rebranded to, and that is the home to all the content that was previously on the Do Back Discussion Network, but it is now displayed. How do you want to say? Displayed and presented in a more professional and refined manner. And based on a new concept, we will be expanding. And due to the fact that the world's in a pandemic, and I will not make a joke spreading like a virus, so I will let Mick take it away.
Graham, thanks for coming by. You know what? Yeah. It's someday you're gonna come on and it won't be just an accident on your part.
Hopefully not.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, everybody. I've had enough of you. Get out of my living room.
See everyone later.